Christian, I love the Lord. Kind of nervous about this. For those of you who don't, I'm 70 years old, so I'm here to share a little bit about my experience, strength and hope, about what it was like and what it's like now. But it's a lot different for me than it was for, I mean, and there was a lot of stuff going on back then, and so it's probably where my story started. I have been in recovery for my first AA meeting in 1984 in Austin, Texas. No, I'll take that back, Fort Worth, Texas. And I didn't get clean until the year 2000. It was a long road between then and from then to now. But anyway, I hope I can share something with some of you that might help. I remember I've been to like 5 treatment centers, and I always love going and listening to people speak, and I was always able to pick up somebody. And I always remember when I went to meetings that I couldn't figure out how I was going to stay clean after I left the meeting. You know, what am I going to do? Take up all with use, and the next day get up and try it again. They say go to 90 meetings in 90 days. I had to do 90 meetings in 30 days. I had to be in the meeting all the time. I couldn't stay clean. And my life was pretty much wrecked. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and I had 3 sisters, and I went to a Catholic school, and like I say, I really didn't, my dad was Catholic, my mother was Baptist, and they didn't really have a really good relationship with their religion, so I really didn't learn much about God, except I had to be an altar boy and go to Catholic school. I didn't like it. So I got taken out in 5th grade, and when I got into public school, I wanted to go out for football, and I did pretty well. And one problem was I got a lot of pride. I got a lot of ego, even though I'm short, not built real good. I'm a fighter, you know, and I wouldn't put up with shit from nobody. And anyway, I joined the football team. We had a really good team, and I was in junior high. And I'm telling you this because it really made a big impact on my addiction in my life. It was during lunch, maybe with football players, we'd all play basketball, just during lunch. But we had all these hoodlums at school, the guys that smoked and did all the wrong stuff, did drugs. They come up and they started, jacking with us. And I ended up getting in a fight with one of them because he tried to take me. And we got in a little skirmish, and he told me to meet him after school after they broke it up. And so I was all for it, I feel like I could kick this guy's butt. But anyway, when I got there, none of my friends showed up. All these football players I felt my friends, they were a bunch of wusses, man. Not one of them showed up. And here I am with about 10 guys all ready to kick my ass and making fun of me, saying, "Where's your buddies at?" Stealing. And they beat my ass. They beat me good. And anyway, so the next morning, I didn't even want to go to school. I had black eye, windows, bruises everywhere. And when I got to school, I had to go. And I got there, and the guy that really whipped my ass was standing in my locker. And I got there, and anyway, he said, "Where's all your friends at?" And I said, "I don't know, man." He said, "Well, you got what you deserve. You deserve to dance with them, but I'm willing to be your friend. Those guys you're running with, they shit, And that kind of changed my life around. Like I quit the football team that day, and they went on and had a great year and did real good. But they were my friends, and so I ended up joining the wrong crowd. But this is what happened to me. And but we were brothers, and I started doing the wrong thing. I started alcohol. I think I even just some gas and all that stuff. I couldn't buy any drugs, but we did all kinds of stuff. And by the time I was, I guess, let's say, I got into 9th grade is when I really started my drug addiction. And I started out with LSD. That was a cheap drug. And it was I could get cheap. And the reason I really tried it because they kept telling me that I could see all this stuff and all these hallucinations, and I didn't believe it. But little I knew it was truth. And anyway, I did it, and I found out I was an addict at that time. But went home, and I was by myself and just tripped all night long. I mean, it was horrible. And the next morning I get to school and they said, man, you better do it again or you're gonna feel like shit. So that went on to be like a 3-month addiction every single day. I mean, I just went on and I quit school, got in a lot of trouble, and then shortly thereafter, my mother kicked me out. I started running around when we were just doing all kinds of drugs. And I started on heroin because that's what everybody in the neighborhood was doing. And I really didn't care for it because I didn't have money for it. And I got tired of spending all day looking for it, not without having any money to pay for it. You know, so and then anyway, I moved out and I moved in with these guys and we got in all kinds of trouble. Luckily, I'm still alive today from some of it, but I mean, we stole, burglarized, we did everything. Robbed liquor stores, just break the glass window and go in there and grab everything, jump in the car and take off in the middle of the night. And this has been, you know, cops weren't everywhere. They couldn't get you that quick. You know, you just stuff out when they're around and you can get away with about shit. And just same thing with the pharmacy. And I got a lot of drugs. And so anyway, I was pretty much a mess. And by the time I was, I just, you know, I moved in with the guys I was running with, and we had a bunch of LSD, and one guy had brought back to California, and we were selling it. And anyway, we were all tripping out, and anyway, the one guy that I was living with, he was really tripped out, and I was sitting in the living room, and he came walking around the corner with lights out, and he turned the light on, and he had a 22 pistol, and he just walked straight up to me. I mean, just point blank shot me. And I was sitting in a rocking chair, and I went like this because I saw his face, and but he was real tall, and luckily went through this finger, went in my head this way, but it went down this way, and you know, an inch further it would have probably paralyzed me. If it would have been straight, it would have killed me. But that's the first time God really did something for me and saved me, and it was a big deal. And then shortly after that, I got busted and I on probation for something really stupid. And anyway, and I joined the Marine Corps, and they straightened me out. The war was still going on, but man, I mean, I didn't believe some of the shit they did. You know, straighten me out. I mean, there was no getting out of it either. You're going to do what they tell you, no matter what. And don't even try. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, I got out and I decided I was going to stay straight. And I got a GI Bill and I went to school. And I even made the dean's list, man. I really wanted to learn. Now I'm doing pretty good. The only thing is I can tell you now, the biggest drawback I didn't have God in my life. You know, I thought I'd say I'm an agnostic. And you know, God's good for you, that's great. You know, not whatever. You know, I'm doing just fine without, you know, because I didn't see it, wasn't necessary. And anyway, as time went on, see, I got to the point where I started being really successful. I got a good job in real estate and really worked hard at it and got real good at it and made a lot of money. And I started building houses with a guy. So he did extremely well, but it was really stressful. And I wasn't used to making that much money, growing that fast, and knowing how to live. All I did was work. You know, we were making money, and I got married and didn't know how to have a relationship with my wife. I was working all the time. I had to start taking speed just to keep up. And I had everything I wanted. I had 3 cars, house, all that stuff, and I really had nothing because I was just working. And I started taking this pill speed back then. And when that got to be, I couldn't do it anymore. I finally had a buddy of mine turn me on the crank, and that did me in. That did me in. And I had a buddy of mine that it turned me on to it. He was good at it later, but I eventually quit. I went and the only 2 things that were important to me at that time was my work and my family. And at that time, I felt like I was losing both of them because I was never home. Well, my wife's always mad, even though she wasn't never home. And the guys in business with, we were getting into development, so he's never around. And I'm responsible for everything, and we had just too much work. And I just lost. I really know it today. I lost my mind, and I did drugs and alcohol. And one day I just up and left, and I was gone probably 3 months. Nobody knew where I went. I didn't talk to anybody. I just left my home, my wife, my work, everything. And went lived in a mobile home somewhere out on the other side of Burlington out there, doing drugs every day, just trying to kill myself. What I'd done, and the guilt was so bad. And I just didn't, I couldn't fathom anything. And after that, finally, they found me finally and got me in a treatment center. And that didn't go very well. I mean, I'd leave at night and go do drugs at that one. This is back in 1985, you know, it was in Fort Worth, and I'd leave, go do drugs all night, come back next morning, do recovery and get all that. But so I never stayed clean then. And I got busted for just a quarter of a gram I had. And I didn't know if you took it to jail, it's an automatic second-degree felony. And I had it strapped to my leg. And I thought I was going to be able to bond out, and I couldn't, and they found the drugs. And so I got a 10-year probated sentence for, you know, a felony. And I never lived it out. I mean, I spent like 8 years, got revoked 3 times, finally went and did 3 years on it. Really bad deal. And after that, so I need to say my family relationship wasn't any good. I couldn't face the people I knew in life because I was so guilty about what I had done and how I destroyed everything. And you know, as addicts, what we do is even when we say we're gonna quit, and we do, and the next day we go out and use. People don't understand that. We don't understand, but we do it. And I did it. You know, something good coming up, and I go sabotage it by using it and not be there. You know, I remember when my grandmother died. I was lucky I wasn't in her house because she was on hospice and they had morphine and all that there. And if I would have gone over to do my shift like my sister wanted me to, I was going to steal all the morphine. So that's how bad I was. And that was my thinking. And so luckily my sister went and stayed with me, and so I didn't do that. But and I remember my mother was an alcoholic, and I do believe the disease of alcoholism and drugs. There's a lot of inheritance in some of the in your genes. So my mother to the day she died would never admit it that she was an alcoholic. I mean, she would come with this excuse. I remember going to Al-Anon with one of my sisters, and here I am, an addict. We're trying to figure out what to do to get my mother sober, and I was listening, and they were talking about me. You know, just talking about me. And so, and my mother died. Never would admit it. And I was at an 8A meeting in Fort Worth, and I was getting ready to go to prison again. And I was really upset. And somebody in the meeting asked me what I was doing there. I said, well, my mom was in the hospital. They said, get your ass out of here and go up there. And luckily, I got there about 30 minutes before she died. So I got to be there. Because that would have really torn me up if I wouldn't have been, you know. And so I do believe when I look back at things like that today, it was about God helped me in ways that you never understand until later. You know, you don't see the ways that he does things for you that you need. And, you know, we take them all for granted sometimes. And when you start to look at them, to find out God's been there all the time. You know, the whole time he's been there. And so, but anyway, I didn't stop making music. I went to prison again, only for like 2 years. The whole 90s, I was locked up just about. And so after I got out, I wanted to stay clean. I got out in almost 98 on a 7-year sentence, and I went to Narcotics Anonymous again, and I remember I just couldn't stay clean. I mean, I actually I want to back up for just a minute. 1992, when I went to the county jail in Tarrant County, they had what was called the God Pod, which was a place where if you're a Christian, that's where you could go if you're so lucky to get into it. And I actually had, when I got busted and I went to the jail, I had a guard come to me. He said, well, I just felt led to, you know, witness to you. And he said, we also have a place called the God Pod. And if you might be interested, I think I can get you into it. And so I thought, well, hell, great, you know, but it was a good thing. And we had pastors coming in. I learned a lot about the Bible. We were all Christians. I was very new at it. And I had one guy that helped me a whole lot. And we actually ended up going to prison together from there. And his biggest deal was his wife was a Jehovah's Witness. And she told him if he kept his Christian faith, he was not allowed to come home. That he was not welcome in his home with his children or her. And it really bothered him. He tried to deal with it. And I remember he got out like 3 months before I did. And when he got out, 2 weeks later, pastor from Fort Worth at a church that was helping us, he came up and he told me that he had died. And I asked him what happened. He said, well, you know, he was going to come to the church that day when he got out. We were going to put him up and help him. But instead, he went home to his wife and tried to, you know, convince her that he was worthy to be there. And she, you know, slammed the door in his face, told him never come back, you've never seen your kids again. And he left there and went to a crack house. And a 13-year-old slit his throat, killed him. And that just tore me to pieces because I just didn't understand. Why would God let? I was so devoted to God. But like the pastor told me, he said he turned his back on him. He went right back to what he was in prison for. Instead of turning to God, he went back to the drug house. You know, and that so, you know, sometimes you have to be really careful. And watch, you know, and you can't do the things we get away sometimes. We're not always going to get away with them. And it's a war out there, and Satan's out to kill us. See, drug addiction is the easy way to do it. So that really tore me up, and I learned a lot from that. And anyway, so once I got out, I had a hard time staying clean, but I had 11 months clean, and I was going to Arlington Narcotics Anonymous at that point, and I went to AA a couple times, and they threw me out because I said I was an addict, but they don't do that anymore. Now they might in some places, but they didn't then. Anyway, but I was watching people left and right. Just they could stay for a week and they would relapse, die, whatever. And I had to have my paper signed. Yeah, I was on parole, and but I got to the point where I knew I wasn't going to stay clean, and I knew I was going to go back to prison or die, like I saw a bunch of people doing. And so there was this guy in the back of the room, and he's like Mr. Peabody. He has glasses on. I was 40, I think, and he was like 50. And he sat back there in the back of the room and raised his hand and said, "Any guys want to work the steps? You want to stay clean? See me after the meeting. I'll be glad to work the steps with you." He do it every night. I thought, this guy's nuts, but I listened to him share, and he was an addict. He had been a heroin addict, but he had 10 years clean at the time, and he probably had more. I don't think anybody in the group would have more than 2 years. Anybody, male or female at that time. And so I finally got the courage to go ask him to be my sponsor. And he said, "I'm only going to do it." He said, "Look me in the eye when you lie to me." And he said, "I'm going to tell you what." He went and got a book out of his car. He got a workbook. He had them all set up. He had everything for me. Gave me all that stuff. He said, "I'm going to ask you to do what I tell you. I'm going to ask you to work all 12 steps and make a commitment to me that you're not going to quit. You're going to work all 12 steps no matter what. And, you know, that's what my commitment is to you. I'll help you get clean and save your life." And so I did. And he did. He saved my life. I watched a lot of people. I mean, I can call him up in his office and tell his secretary I'm his sponsee, put me through. And he talked to me and he helped me. He took me to dinner every night, took me to meetings, took me out everywhere. And after 5 years clean, he took me to the Bill Wilson house up in Vermont, which is where Bill Wilson was raised, the guy today. And it was really great. We worked all the steps and the whole bit. So, but my relationship with God, I did get it through working the steps. He worked with me at the AA book at first, which I'm glad he did because it was a lot more God-centered. And then I worked him out of the AA after that. And the first guys he made me sponsor are all dead. They died within probably 60 days of being in the group. 2 of them committed suicide. I've had a lot of friends die, and it was really unnecessary, but they did. And anyway, I'm really grateful that you know, I asked myself, you might have the same question I had somebody ask me one time, why is it I've been giving them a day's day to live? And so many people far better than me died yesterday. What is my purpose? Does God still have something for me? Am I worthy? No. But God loves me. And God's got a plan. You know, but I've got to do a few things for God to make that happen. And the steps, I want to really encourage anybody, if you're new, work the steps, give yourself a break. They brought my relationship to God to fruit. And I had a lot of anger and a lot of resentment and a lot of I didn't know how to live. You know, it's hard. And but God just started turning things around for me like you wouldn't believe. I never thought I could pay people back. He orchestrated all of that. I just had to be willing to do my part. And so many times each day, you know, I prayed to God, be my director, you know, do for me what I can't do for myself. Help me, you know. I went to a lot of, introduced me to a lot of Christian music, and I really got into worship and, you know, meditation and prayer. And it puts you at ease and it gives you a sense of, you know, God loves us. He didn't come to heal the well, he came to heal the sick and the sinners. And, you know, I've developed a pretty good relationship with God, but, you know, I have to, any given day, I can be tempted. And there's always something in my brain that'll always like drugs. You know, like everything associated with whatever I did with drugs. And I've got to find ways to avoid that temptation instead of planning. You know, best thing I was told was to pick up the phone and call somebody else you could help. You know, when you're in a bad place, call somebody you can help. See how their day is going. Help them. Find out, you know, but work the steps. Today, I ride my bike a lot, and I just listen to music and I worship, and I really get in tune with God with prayer and meditation, because it puts me at ease and gives me hope. And you know, I do believe that for some reason, you know, God orchestrated the 12 steps just for people like us. It's the only way He gets to get our attention. You know, church people just didn't work out that way. Didn't seem like. And but the 12 steps, man, they saved my life, and they will continue to do so as long as I'm willing to do my maintenance and try to help. You know, no drug I ever did or anything I ever did is more satisfying than helping another addict stay clean for one day.
Yes.
One day, just to help somebody, give them some hope. There's no better feeling than that. And that makes it all worse. And when you can see somebody that you helping somebody else in the 30 days clean or something, and they're helping the next guy coming in or the next gal coming in, man, it's a miracle, you know, and we got to help each other. Yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of lost track of where I'm going with all this, but anyway, I want to thank y'all for listening to me, and I'm glad to be here, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So does anybody have anything that they want to ask or talk about, anything on their heart, something like a burning desire? No? Okay, well, let me grab my phone, because I've got